So this session is about building iOS widgets, right? I don't like the title. I wish I had a better title. But anyway, it's delivering dashboard data via FileMaker, Claris Connect, and another free app that's on the App Store called Scriptable. And I'll cover that in my session. My name is Vincenzo Menanno. I'm with Beeswax. My title changed a couple of years ago. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Beeswax. Basically, all that means is I get to work with people who are super talented, and they do what I dream of doing. Okay, so these are the things I like to do, or like to take part in. And data visualization has been a big thing for me. I've always loved data visualization. And now lately AI and what's possible with AI. And I have all kinds of reactions to it. I'm also the author of Inspector Pro, which you can find out more about it at our booth. We have a booth upstairs, but I guess this is the last session, so you'll have to go to the website and find out more. The next version has some cool features in it. I invite you to check it out. We also have a Beeswax. At Beeswax, we have a blog, and there's over 100 of us at Beeswax. Lots of web developers, FileMaker developers, Tableau developers, and there's all kinds of blog articles that are very popular, and they do all kinds of interesting articles on different topics. So I invite you to check out our blog. I am the father of two incredible kids. Sorry, I went by too fast. And my son has just started driving. My daughter is a gymnastics fan, and she's working hard to compete in the nationals again this year. Last year, she came in first place in the nationals in her age group. So yeah, very proud of her. And my son is currently in Switzerland with a school trip. So that's very cool. This talk is as much about iOS widgets as it is about time, right? Time and the time that we can give back to our clients. So the CEO of Netflix, one of his quotes that I really like is that his biggest rivals are Amazon, YouTube, and sleep. Okay, because time is such a precious commodity, right? And so I want to frame this. They just think about that topic as we go further into what we're going to talk about. Another thing I'd like to talk about is last May, Memorial Day weekend, I was in New York with my son and my family, and my son and I got to ride a Rivian. We test drove a Rivian, and a Rivian is, I don't know if all of you know this, but a Rivian is an electric vehicle. And so we were in the store, and we were sitting in the store, and on the sofa here, and looking at the books, right? And if the books, you see the books there, the places we'll go, the travel book, all these interesting books. And I told my son, I says, what do you think Rivian sells? Anybody have an idea? What do they sell?
Cars.
They sell cars? What do they? Experiences, yes. You got it. So I told my son, I said, look around you. What does Rivian sell? And he said to me exactly what you said, right? They sell vehicles, they sell cars, right? But really, they sell travel and adventure. Who doesn't want travel and adventure, right? And so I'm not going to show it here, but I invite you to check out Simon Sinek. And if you've never seen it or heard it, it's really great YouTube. He's also a speaker on TED, and he gives other talks, but it's a great way to understand how you sell to your clients or to the people that you do work for, right? What do you sell them? I'm going to show you a widget, but that's not the thing you're going to enhance their experience with. You're not going to say, hey, get this widget, that's cool. You're trying to sell them on the why, the benefits, right? So remember that, right? Remember that what it is that you sell. So I like the Workplace Innovation Platform. Now they call it, what is it? The OS platform? What is it called again? Workplace OS platform?
Something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember, but now they refer to it as the platform, the OS platform. You're selling them insights. You're bringing insights. You're bringing the agility to move quickly. Oversight, get the big picture. Also, you save them time, right? Because what I'm going to show you is the ability to have your phone and you ask it a question like my sales dashboard. I invoked Siri. I asked a question, and presto, now they have data that is up to the minute. Like that data is live from your FileMaker system. And what you see there, right? What you see in here, everything you see in there is all customizable. Just that little area is your canvas, and you can design and put anything you want on there. You can do search in FileMaker, get the current, summary of sales or active tickets or whatever you like. And you can surface that, and it can be invoked by Siri, and it shows up on, you can trigger it from your phone when it's in a lock mode. You can invoke Siri even when you're in your phone and you're unlocked. So you can surface that data. The data can be surfaced in other places. I'll talk about that soon. So no need to open your laptop. No need to hop on Wi-Fi, launch FileMaker, log into your system, find the relevant data, etc. Right? So insights are delivered when you ask. Again, once you unlock the phone, you can install widgets just like you install other widgets on your phone, anywhere on your screen. And they can come in different sizes, as you see here, and they can present information that you display for the user. So let's see here. So here's some of them on my desktop. So the widgets can live on the desktop as well. And you can pass in a parameter. So these are the same widget. They just have a different parameter that I'm passing in to get Fabio's sales and my sales. Okay, so you can have like a whole slew of different widgets, almost like a control center if you wish. All right, and Tableau, and just to kind of parallel this a little bit, Tableau, because I work in that space as well, they have some things called Tableau Pulse. So in a sense, these are like FileMaker insights, if you wish. So we're going to talk about the scope and requirements to put these together. We'll show you how to add widgets in action, which you already saw some of them. The steps involved to set this up, it requires FileMaker, it requires Claris Connect, and a free app that's on the App Store called Scriptable. It's a popular app, especially if you do anything with shortcuts or automation. It's a very popular app. And the bonus points with Scriptable, as you saw when I invoked it, by just invoking a request like my sales dashboard, or you ask Siri, hey, my sales dashboard, you can call that up and get it to fetch the data right at that moment. So, and we'll cover the costs involved, and then we'll recap. So scope and requirements. Unfortunately, Claris does not provide a native way to do this, so you kind of have to piece it together. The good thing is Scriptable is a free app, so you don't have to pay anything there, and the components that you're using from Claris Connect, they're also free, so there's no cost to this whatsoever other than your FileMaker license, which you're already paying for, etc. It is iOS only, so this is, if you have a Windows server, it will still work, but you have to consume it on a phone, on an iOS device. It runs on an iPhone, iPad, Mac. You can install the widgets anywhere on there, but it really primarily runs on the phone and I believe on the iPad. On the Mac, it doesn't run on the Mac necessarily, but it runs through the phone. It connects through your phone to get the script to run and then returns the widgets information on the Mac. It requires iOS 17 or greater. Also requires the use of the app called Scriptable. Requires some use of knowledge of AppleScript, but I'm not going to cover that here. And the examples that I provided you are all ready so that you can just set them up on the server, go through the process and set up the Claris Connect flow, and you're up and running with the same examples I have here. You just have to generate your own webhook, update the JavaScript files with that webhook, and then you can tear apart those examples and build your own into your own systems. Requires FileMaker server with the data API enabled. and so it can run on any server, Mac, Linux, or Windows. And it requires Claris Connect. Okay, some definitions. A dashboard is a visual representation of data that provides an overview of key metrics, trends, and insights at a glance. That definition came from ChatGPT. Okay. This one, widgets elevate a small amount of timely, personal, relevant information from your app, display it where people can see it at a glance, and offer specific app functionality without launching the app. That's the key thing, without launching the app. That comes from the Apple developer page somewhere. Okay, and you can get that information about widgets and from Apple, and if you follow that link there. Side note. So this is something I've been doing a long time. Anytime there's introduction of new features, it's a great time to sit down and kind of think about or explore, like, hey, there's this new thing called PSOS. What can I do with PSOS, right? And so you step back and you think, oh, it's going to run on a server. What can we do with that, et cetera. So I even gave a talk one year about the intersection or the crossroads of different features, but that's something I've done for a long time. Take the time to explore what might be possible with these new capabilities and features. For example, PSOS, when it came out in FileMaker 13, allowed us to step back and take new approaches to solutions that we architect. So for example, what we did at one point is oftentimes we had solutions that would run and process Excel. So people would send us an Excel file, we would import that data. If you do that over a WAN, it can be very slow. So what we did is we said, okay, well, we can import the Excel, we can move the file to the server, use the file-based script steps to write the Excel file out to a directory that we can read back in. And now with PSOS, you can just do that all on a server. So combining those three capabilities and those file-based script steps came along at some point. We didn't have them before. So that's something that we started rethinking this approach when those features came available. And you can find out more about this particular blog post over here. Okay, think big. This is something, how many of you remember Heather Winkle? Remember she was the design lead in the FileMaker community? She gave a talk at Dig FM recently, and I took this from her presentation. It's always really great to think and expand your ideas, and then narrow in and define the scope. And then also think about how you're going to design it and then deliver it. So there's always this thinking of like, don't be limited, think big, expand what you can do with it. So in terms of widgets, where could you put them? What uses could you have for them? And then in terms of budget, how many of them can you actually execute on and build, right? So widgets in action, again, they can surface data on your phone, right? It comes up. They come in different sizes. You can place them anywhere on your phone, on your iPad, your desktop. On the phone, they can live on your lock screen. They can live on the screen when you unlock the phone. And so these are on my screen when my phone is unlocked. On the iPad, there's 4 sizes. You have a small size. You have a rectangular size. You have this larger size here. And on the iPad, you have yet a bigger one than that one. And on the desktop, they're similar to what we have here, small, medium, large. Even on your lock screen, they summarize information if you want. And they can provide actionable insights, similar to Tableau Pulse. They refresh every 15 minutes. So that's all handled by the OS. They just runs and they refresh. But as you saw when you invoke them with Siri shortcuts, they will be real time. So they will run the JavaScript, go fetch the data out and bring it back, and you'll have real-time insights. Okay, so adding widgets is really easy. If you've never done it before, here's an example of adding a widget. Basically, you press and hold, you say edit, and then you pick one of the widgets, and presto, you have a widget on your device. That's how easy it is. Okay, so this is where we can put them even on a lock screen. So on here, we'll go ahead and we'll edit the lock screen. We'll go into this mode and we'll add a widget. We'll find the scriptable app. We'll choose one of the sizes. And we'll put the rectangular one on the left. And we'll choose another one to go on the right. And now if you choose what JavaScript file you want that one to be using, and then that's it. And now they're live on your lock screen. So this is something where you can just lift up your phone and you have insights on the go. It uses the scriptable app. It's easy to add and configure. And when you configure them, you'll have this panel here that comes up. And don't get confused, because that is not run FileMaker script. That is run the JavaScript that is in the scriptable app. And that JavaScript, those JavaScript files live in your there's a directory in there that is like an iCloud directory on your Mac, or you can have them on your phone. You can get access to them on your phone, so you can edit them in some editor to work with that. This will run the JavaScript, and this is where you choose it, like over here, you choose it. When interacting, you have different options. You can also pass in a parameter. So parameter can be just a string, or it can be JSON. It can be anything you want. You can pass that along. And here we'll see some interaction on editing the widget. So here we can have the widget pass in a parameter. So we can pass in, you can pass in a parameter, but we can also add an FMP URL. So from the widget, when you click on it, it can open up the FileMaker Go app and log you into the file, so that if you see an insight that is actionable and you want to have the manager or the admin person go in there, they're actually going directly to the data underlying that insight. See a trend, you want to dive into it. Clicking on the widget can run an FMP URL. You can even pass in a parameter. And so here you have these different options that are available. So open the app means you're just going to open the scriptable app. You're not going to open FileMaker. Run the script is going to run the JavaScript. Open the script is basically opening the JavaScript on the phone, on the device, so if you want to make changes to the code. And then the open URL script step is basically what I use to open up FileMaker Go. All right, so the steps involved in setting it up on the FileMaker side. So you'll have this file. First off, just make sure you put in your own password, right? So you set your password up. Make sure you turn on, or if it's not already enabled, the data API. And you can create a new account if you want and associate it with data entry only. Or you can read only. You don't have to write any data. So, and you make sure on the server that data API is enabled. On the Claris Connect side, what you'll do here is, the first thing you'll do is you'll create this Claris Connect flow, and then you'll create a webhook. You give the webhook a name. And then after that, make sure to turn on return sync response. You want this to be a synchronous webhook, not async. And then the next thing you'll do, you have basically 3 steps. It's very simple. You'll have an HTTP. You'll choose the webhook, so it'll get triggered from the webhook. And then the next action is basically setting up the FileMaker step that will go in and connect to the database, and it will run a find action on the data. So now that this is set up, the next step would be the HTTP step, the last one. And so those steps are utility steps, and you don't pay for FileMaker type of steps or utility steps. So the Claris Connect flow is free and doesn't cost you anything. And they just made that change recently. So before that, it was actually, it would cost you money if it would run. every 15 minutes eventually would add up. So those are the things that you need to set up with the Claris Connect. And so there's the configuration details. And again, those are the only 3 steps you need to have as part of this. And then, sorry, my mouse is moving there. I don't mean to move it all the time. It's this little device. Okay. And you can add one or more utility. Adding one or more utility steps doesn't matter. Those don't come at any cost again. So the last step will return the JSON to the JavaScript, and then the JavaScript file has the information on how to render the widget, right? So it uses that data to pull that data out, and then it renders the widget. You save it, and it's ready to use. Copy the webhook URL. You go into the scriptable app. Once it's installed on the phone, there's a lot of features that you can look at with the scriptable app. But there's a lot to talk about there, but I'm not going to go into that detail on the scriptable app. You can explore that. We're just scratching the surface with what's possible with this tool. Again, so you have your webhook. You look for that place inside those JavaScript files. Right here, you replace your webhook with that. There's about 5 or 6 files. And these are the files here that you get. And you place those JavaScript files into your iCloud Drive folder inside your scriptable folder that is, again, in your iCloud Drive. So it can live either on your Mac. You'll see them on your Mac. You'll have them on your phone as well. Bonus points that you get is the ability to integrate with Siri. So when you look at this and you open up the JavaScript file, that went a little bit too quick. Let me back that up a little bit so you see. So like when you're here at the top, right? These little ellipses up here. If you click on that, you'll end up in the editor for that JavaScript. And down at the bottom, right here, this little button. If you press that little button, you'll end up in this window here. And this is where you say add to Siri. And when you add it to Siri, it basically takes the name of your JavaScript file, creates a shortcut with that name, and then you can go to shortcuts and rename it to something that is a little bit more meaningful for you to activate it with your voice. In this case, I'll call it FM Widget Demo. And once I do that, now that widget is available to be invoked via Siri. So I can call, I can invoke Siri and I can call that thing to run. So again, these are the steps that you would use to get there. Rename it and you're good to go. Then when you trigger it with Siri, again, you can hold the button down. It will light up Siri, and you can say my FM Widget Demo. And then it'll run that JavaScript. It'll run the Claris Connect flow. It will fetch the data and return the data in the widget, and that's real time. That one is real time. Okay, so let's see. It will run the script in scriptable file. Oh yeah, there's also some code inside the JavaScript file that enables notifications. And so if that's enabled, you will see notifications like this show up on your Mac or your phone or your iPad, wherever the widgets are. And if you have more than one widget, it's kind of annoying because they kind of all refresh around the same time, so you can constantly get a barrage of notifications. So you might want to turn that off. But if you only have one widget, that's kind of cool. You can have show whatever information you want to calculate to show there. So, okay, now moving on to cost. So FileMaker steps and utility steps are basically free. This is from the Claris Connect page. And then when I asked Marie about pricing information, she gave me this long list of things that I'll just glance over here because sometimes licensing and pricing is not my thing. So I don't have all those details. All I can tell you is it's free. Okay, so all right, and then let's see what else. Yeah, so the 2 utility steps and the FileMaker steps would not count to active flows. So you can have as many as these kinds of flows as you want, I believe. I don't know what the limit would be. And then there was another question. So they don't come at no additional cost. The option of upcoming licensing model includes 5 active flows. You could have 10, 20, 75 using only utility steps, and Claris owns services steps to have Studio, Connect, and FileMaker interact with each other, and none of those would count in the 5 active flow limit. And you can find out more there. Again, it says coming soon, but it's public, so I don't know when that's going to go into effect. But anyway, we've been using it, and we haven't seen any bills. Before they made a change, we did see some invoicing, and Simon called me up and said, hey, are you using Connect? Because I'm starting to see like some charges there. Okay, some examples. Again, these are AI-generated images, but just thinking of use cases where you might find use for this. You're, at the ad agency that you work with, it has a new ad for you to review. The iOS widget could tell you that there's a new ad to review, like it could pop up. We've worked with companies in this field, and sometimes that information is very timely. You only have 12 hours to approve it and get it done. So like anything that is of a timely nature, these things could do well. In this case, it could take you to the database for you to review the details and approve the ad. And the examples I provide here are kind of related to like a clothing store business. You are the manager of a high-end clothing store. You want to have a dashboard that shows you how your daily sales are doing. Are they going up? Are they going down? In a shipping warehouse, you could see how many packages, how many trucks have come in, what needs to go out, anything that's delayed. Again, they can surface that data so that you have it available on the go. Okay, so recap. I know I'm going quickly. We'll have time for questions, but also want to make sure that we can get to the closing session too. Again, it's not, I shouldn't have said Mac only, but it's really iOS only. The widgets are an Apple thing, and you're taking advantage of the Apple ecosystem and what's possible with the widgets. The ingredients are FileMaker Server, Claris Connect, and the scriptable app. Get excited about the why, not the how. Again, referring to the examples I was talking about with, get to know what it is that you're offering to your client, right? You're offering the benefit of saving them time, having insights that are on the go, and all these kinds of things. So like get to know how you can message those things to your client, the benefits, the why. Don't emphasize the how or the what. The costs, we covered the costs about licensing. Time is a finite resource, again. Easy to set up, and there are many possibilities with these widgets. Again, you can imagine that those widgets are just a canvas to design whatever it is that you want to surface for your clients or your solutions. So that's pretty much it. That's ways to contact me down here, email, Twitter, or X, LinkedIn, and then that's a link to our blog. I want to thank, a big thank you to Fabio Bosisio, because without his help, I would not have been able to do this. And he would have been here presenting it, but he just had his second kid, so he's busy. Okay, and then this is just a slide to go and rate this session, but we're not over. I'll leave this open, or you can just go to the app and rate it, but I'm available for questions if you have any questions. Thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, hold on. Let's do the questions like this so they get recorded, because, okay, there you go.
how do you publish this, distribute it to users? I mean, you have to just physically handle their phone and set all this up there? Or is there an easy way to push it out?
Yeah, so how do you publish the widget so that it's all available on someone's phone? So there was some discussion. I haven't researched it myself, but there's Jamf. Potentially there's the managed device management thing. But yes, you would have to go to each user and say, let's install a scriptable app. Here's the JavaScript files that are for you. If you want parameters in their widget to go to their sales or whatever, you'd have to unlock or edit that widget, put the parameter in there. So there's a little bit of hand-holding, unfortunately, but I'm not sure if that's something that can be handled with MDM system. But yes, you would have to do that on each device to customize it.
And it would be the same for updates or changes?
Yeah, I believe that would be the same thing. If you have changes to the JavaScript file, you're rendering a different kind of content there, you would have to then get that JavaScript file updated on their device, etc. Yeah. And the other thing that Fabio and I talked about is the parameter that you put in there, where you saw that little popover, you put in a parameter. If let's say there's competition and people want to see like, hey, how much are Fabio's sales? How is he doing? You might want to use a JSON parameter with a UUID that's not something that's easily, changeable or understandable or findable, so that not someone can't just put their name in there or Fabio's name in there and see what those things are. So there's some considerations to think about securing that in some way. So you have to think about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's another question over here, Andrew. Oops. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I assume that if you're competent in other programming languages like PHP or something, you could switch out the Claris Connect flow with the PHP file to achieve the same result.
Can you repeat? Sorry, you're not going to have voice there. You just have to speak louder. Okay. My hearing, when I was young, I played drums, and I'm paying for it now. So.
I presume the Claris Connect flow, you could swap that out with something else like a PHP file or JavaScript.
Yeah. You could have a link to anything. Yeah. You have a link to take you somewhere else, whatnot. Yes. Yeah. Other questions? There was one in the back here. So can you pass the microphone, please?
Are there sample files somewhere?
What's that?
Are there sample files?
Yes,
somewhere?
They're included in the download.
No.
They're not?
No.
Oh.
There's only a PDF of the keynote in the download.
Okay, so I'll get those. I'll make sure, because I did send them in. I sent them in. And where's Rosemary? This is being recorded. So no, I did send them in, but then I sent an update to my keynote file, and I guess he just replaced that, and I said just the keynote change, but I'll make sure to send in the example files.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
It's going to go out tomorrow.
What's that?
She was saying that all of that stuff was going to go out tomorrow afternoon, like all of the sessions that you've attended where there's going to be extra stuff available.
But I'll make sure that Rosemary has the files.
Coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
The links to all that stuff.
Okay. A question over there.
Can you speak to when you would use Tableau Pulse versus this type of widget? Like, is there a use case where one is a more compelling use than the other?
I mean, this is all kind of like FileMaker platform ecosystem, except Mac OS or iOS Apple ecosystem. Whereas Tableau Pulse is, if you're fortunate enough to have a Tableau license or whatever, you can definitely, see if there's JavaScript that you can do and bring in the Pulse in there. But Tableau has an app, a mobile app, that you can surface those insights via Pulse. I haven't done much work with Tableau Pulse itself, so I just know that it's kind of like a small insight that's consumable, and it's very similar. But I'm not sure if you would want to feed that Tableau Pulse information into the widget, but it might be something you want to research. It could be kind of cool. A question over here.
Is the Siri shortcut capable of doing anything more than just calling the app? Is there any ability to send a condition to the app or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, there's potential where they're going to update. There's the Worldwide Developer Conference coming up soon. There's talk about intents. If those come to Siri shortcuts, then you can do some very interesting things with intents and shortcuts. But this is just in the case of this, you're just triggering the execution of that JavaScript, so you get that widget showing up, right? If you wanted to do more stuff with Siri shortcuts, you can also donate scripts to Siri, right? So when you select a script, you say donate to Siri shortcuts, and then you can invoke that script, right? But as AI starts to filter more through the ecosystem as well, and if you can build intents, you could do things where you can have an intelligent kind of bot asking you things like, I want to enter my time. Time is how much time, when did you do it, what project, and so those are requirements. So you say, can you log time for me? And you speak it in a just natural language. It knows that it's missing some of the other intents. It will ask you for those until it's done, and then it will execute the rest of it. But that, I don't know if that's going to be possible. We'll wait and see, but those are the kinds of things that you could do with it. The other thing you can do with this is, so because you can trigger it via Siri, and if you're in a car driving and you've got CarPlay, you can ask, hey Siri, my sales dashboard. You would have to do a little bit of tweaking to get the audio version of that back. Like let's say you had a ticketing system. Hey, do we have any new tickets today? Right? You can, instead of getting the dashboard to show up, you can tweak it a little bit so you can get a spoken result. So you're driving, you just ask it, and you get a spoken result. So those are things that you could potentially experiment with. Any other questions? Yes, back there?
Yeah, I was just going to ask about what has your user experience been with Scriptable? Has that been much of a hurdle so far? And has that either gotten users excited or has it deterred kind of having to set that up for them?
I did show this to a couple of clients. They're very interested in the potential of having that data with them. My experience in building with Scriptable for these demos, there are some places where it's a little clunky, like that thing where you click that button at the bottom, you say generate a shortcut. That's a little bit clunky, I found, because it auto-generates the shortcut, and then you have to go in and rename it because it's not, it just generates a random name, whatever, the name of the scriptable thing, but that's not a name that you would remember to use, let's say. But in the most part, it's been very good. There are situations where right now my widgets are working on my phone, my lock screen. If I unlock my phone and go to the widget, they're there. But I have found sometimes, like if I'm on some kind of VPN, there's some thing all of a sudden my widget isn't resolving. So I have seen those situations, and I talked to Louis about it. But we might need to do some kind of, I don't know, proxy or something like that. I talked to Fabio about it too. So be aware that there could be networking issues that you have to be aware of, and you might have to deal with that. But normal Wi-Fi, it's working really well. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, so now that we got, besides OData, besides data, we have OData. Would it be beneficial to call OData instead of calling the data API?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new FileMaker connector that actually, I don't totally understand it, but it works both with the data API and OData. You have to ask Louis to explain it. I have not used that in my demos, but that's a new one that's coming. And
yes, because the stat shows that the OData is much faster to receive data, because you don't have to go to a specific layout and ask for information, whereas it needs to load the layouts with the information.
Yep,
So it might be beneficial if you have a lot of data to use the OData instead of the data API.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something worth exploring. Again, that new thing, I don't know if it's officially released yet. I don't think so, but I haven't tested it with that. But the confusing thing is that it uses both OData and the data API. So I don't know. All right. You're all going to build widgets, right? Any other questions? Okay, we can go to the closing party. Thank you so much.